Hi, welcome back to another episode of Wild Turkey 101. Now, for a lot of us, we're ready for turkey season. It'll be here in just a matter of a couple weeks, while some of our southern neighbors are right in the middle of turkey season. This episode, we're going to show you some of our favorite techniques, how to prepare your calls, and how to best be ready for this turkey season. There's a lot to get ready for turkey season, especially if you're as diehard as I am. You've got to get your favorite camo gathered up, getting your decoys ready, making sure your bow is dialed in. But one of the most important, and don't forget, is getting your calls conditioned and getting familiar with the call. Now this particular call is a Sneed's. It's one of my favorite friction calls. And as you learn and get better at calling, you're going to find that you have a particular favorite. Maybe it's the way you hold your hand, or it just sounds particularly good to you. But conditioning it, very important. And sanding it with a light sandpaper and always in the same direction is a great way to start. Now that we've got our calls ready, and by the way, if you have any questions about calling or how we take care of our calls, don't forget to leave a comment in the video. Now, if you're out there calling and you've had this bird answer you that morning and you're in your blind, you've got your setup, and he's just went away with some other hens, which is typical early in the morning. Most of us get a little impatient and we'll go chase that bird down. That's usually not the right thing to do, especially with archery. Remain in the blind. That turkey knows where it heard you calling that morning, and 9 times out of 10, if you're patient, it'll show back up 11, maybe even noon. Patience has killed more wild turkeys than any of these calls or your bow ever has.
I'm dying to go run a gun, but at the same time, every single morning, it's hard to do. It's hard to do whenever they've been here every morning. Every morning. Don't leave so far. Yeah, that's what Wayne Van Bever says. He said, don't leave long.
As you can see, we have a multitude of different friction calls right here with all different types of wood strikers. Now a lot of these are handmade and they're different materials. We have oak, we have cherry, maple, some synthetic ones, even glass strikers. They all produce a different sound and different pitch on the call. Now that can be really important when you're trying to call in a wise old tom that's heard a lot of different calls, maybe switching it up, thinks there's a different hen. So changing your calls, strikers, and even maybe going from a mouth call to a friction call can be a really good technique right in the middle of a call sequence. To condition this call, what we want to do is sand in one direction lightly. Now you don't want to wipe this off after you sand it, because that light sanding or dust is what produces some of the friction and that skipping sound that makes the call sound a little more realistic, especially with a good purr or cutting. Now we all hear varying answers on how much should you call. Do you call too much? Should you call a lot? And I'm going to say most of the time we call too much. Generally, once you make a few calls and repeat that every 15, maybe 20 minutes, that bird knows exactly where you are. But there is different situations. And one of those is when that tom has a hen that's trying to bring him with her. And sometimes you have to get really aggressive. Now we're going to show you a sequence where a good friend of mine, Dave Miller, and I were in the blind, and we called 2 birds in that we were just going crazy. We were doubling up, we were cutting, we were yelping, clucking, and these birds come right to us. We called those away from that hen. Now, the only thing that's going to teach you that is time in the woods. Get out there and learn these birds. You're going to make mistakes, but you're also going to have some success. So time in the woods and calling these turkeys are the only way you're really going to learn. It doesn't matter if you're new to turkey hunting or you've been doing it your entire life. There is no excitement like a big tom just roaring and coming straight at you after he's responded to your calls. The excitement level is through the roof for me. Nothing else like it in the woods. And I love to whitetail hunt, but there's still nothing like that big gobbler just blowing up and you can feel the hair on the back of your neck standing up. You've got to get out there and try this. I promise you, you won't regret it.
Let them sit for a minute and see what they do. Oh, look at, oh, they're destroying it. Oh, you need to turn this way. Oh, yeah, look at them. I just, don't call for a second. Watch and just see if they come this way or turn. They're coming. They're both coming. Oh, here they come. One's in the road.
Can you see him?
Yeah, I think both. Strut.
Look at here.
Don't do anything yet.
No.
He's looking right at me.
How far away?
65 yards, but they're coming. I'm gonna let him get close to get a good shot.
Yep. What are they doing now?
They're strutting in the road.
Are they looking hard?
Yes. Don't do anything.
Yep. How close you will let them come?
I'm gonna let him eat out my hand. They're big. Archie saw them yesterday.
Archery hunting for turkey has a unique set of challenges. You have to get that bow drawn back, which is a lot more difficult than just using a shotgun or a crossbow. But if you place your decoys right, you remain in the blind, and wait until that turkey's fan has his vision blocked or he turns just the right angle, get your bow drawn and be patient for the right shot. Now, shot placement is key with turkey. We're going to show you a little graphic where we need to aim with that bow. If you hit them too low, you're going to miss. If you hit them too far forward, turkey's just going to run off. But learning that vital kill zone is important while archery hunting. Now, if you're patient, you get the right shot, you're going to be rewarded with a hunt of a lifetime. There's nothing like getting that first turkey with your bow.